Something strange is happening with Samsung's next Ultra phone. At first glance, the Galaxy S26 Ultra looks familiar, almost too familiar. But the longer you look at these newly leaked official renders, the more you realize Samsung may be hiding its biggest changes in plain sight. And once you notice them, you can't unsee them. With the Galaxy S26 Ultra launching next month alongside its two younger siblings, official-looking renders have now leaked online, giving us our clearest look yet at Samsung's next flagship. These images, shared by Android headlines and other reliable sources, don't just show colors, they quietly confirm Samsung's design direction for 2026. Let's start with what most people will miss. The Galaxy S26 Ultra keeps the boxy Ultra identity, but the frame corners are subtly more rounded than the S25 Ultra. It's not dramatic, but it's intentional. This small change could make the phone noticeably more comfortable in hand, something Ultra phones have always struggled with despite their premium feel. Flip the phone over, and that's where things get interesting. Samsung hasn't redesigned the camera island completely. Instead, it refined it. The main camera section now sits inside a vertical pill-shaped base layer housing three lenses: the primary sensor, the ultra-wide, and the periscope telephoto. This is new. It adds structure, depth, and a more engineered look compared to the floating ring design we've seen for years. What makes this even more intriguing is that the two camera rings on the right side appear almost unchanged from the Galaxy S24 Ultra, creating a deliberate contrast. It's as if Samsung wants to visually separate its core imaging hardware from its supporting sensors. Even the camera lens crowns now resemble the design language of the Galaxy Z Fold 7, suggesting Samsung is slowly unifying its premium lineup. Color-wise, the leaks revealed two official finishes so far: Cobalt Violet and Classic Black. The Cobalt Violet in particular looks bold but refined, not flashy, not dull, the kind of color Samsung usually reserves for confidence moves. These aren't random choices, they're statement colors. From the front, the Galaxy S26 Ultra plays it clean and safe, and that's not a bad thing. A flat display returns, with extremely slim, perfectly uniform bezels and a centered punch hole camera at the top. This confirms Samsung is sticking with symmetry and practicality rather than chasing curves again. The S Pen is still here, front and center in Samsung's ecosystem, reinforcing that this phone is still built for power users. On the sides, nothing extra, nothing unnecessary. Volume and power buttons live on the right, and that's it. No clutter, no experiments, just a very controlled, very confident design. And here's the real takeaway. The S26 Ultra isn't trying to shock you, it's trying to age well. Every change feels calculated, from the softened corners to the refined camera housing, suggesting Samsung believes the Ultra formula is already winning. They're not reinventing it, they're perfecting it. But this is just the surface, because if Samsung is this careful with the design, the real story might be what they're preparing under the hood, and that's where things could get genuinely exciting. So, the question is this the most confident Ultra Samsung has ever made, or are they saving the real surprises for Unpacked? Either way, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is no longer a mystery, it's a message. Today, I'm breaking down all the confirmed details about what's shaping up to be the most powerful flagship smartphone of the year, including the expected pricing and the official release date. But before we dive in, let's address the bigger picture. Since 2020, Samsung's direction has been confusing. A company that once led innovation started getting criticized for chasing Apple and slowly copying the iPhone step by step. However, this year genuinely feels different. We'll save that debate for the end of the video because for the first time in a long while, we finally have a clear and complete picture of what the Galaxy S26 Ultra really is. And there are some truly meaningful upgrades here. So for once, we're not starting with the design. Let's begin with the display. Simply put, Samsung is still the undisputed king of smartphone displays, and the Galaxy S26 Ultra isn't giving up that crown. The phone keeps the same massive 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X panel as last year, but the real upgrades are happening under the hood. This time, Samsung is using a new M14 panel combined with COE technology, and that's a big deal. These improvements deliver better color accuracy, higher contrast, sharper clarity, and most importantly, improved power efficiency. While this display technology is technically capable of reaching up to 6,000 nits of peak brightness, reports suggest Samsung will cap it at around 2,600 nits,
Demos
similar
and
to the
even Samsung's
S25 Ultra.
own
And the
explanation
reason is simple:
suggested that the
better battery life instead of chasing unrealistic brightness numbers. There's also a brand new and confirmed feature that once again keeps Samsung ahead of the competition: a privacy display. This feature limits visibility from side angles, making it much harder for people around you to peek at your screen. As for the front camera, leaks suggest the punch hole cutout will be slightly larger this year. That's because the selfie camera now uses a wider aperture lens. The sensor itself remains the same 12-megapixel camera we saw on the S25 Ultra, but the field of view has been expanded to 85 degrees, which means better group selfies and wider shots. Now let's talk about the cameras on the back, where the changes are more noticeable. The Galaxy S26 Ultra keeps Samsung's familiar quad-camera layout, but this year brings aperture adjustments to both the main camera and the 5x periscope zoom lens. The ultra-wide and 3x telephoto cameras remain unchanged. On paper, these upgrades may seem minor, but when combined with Samsung's new image processing improvements, we should see a clear jump in both photo and video quality. That said, I still personally wish Samsung had upgraded the 3x zoom sensor. Moving on to performance, the Galaxy S26 Ultra will be powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor. Thanks to Samsung's close collaboration with Qualcomm, we're getting a special 4 Galaxy version with higher clock speeds. Based on everything we know so far, this is expected to be the most powerful mobile chip of the year, even outperforming Apple's A19 Pro. But performance isn't the only story here. Efficiency is just as important, and that brings us to the battery. Samsung is once again sticking with a 5,000 mAh battery for the sixth year in a row, a capacity that dates back all the way to the Galaxy Note era. However, the real upgrade this year isn't battery size, it's efficiency. With a more efficient chip, power-saving display technology, and smarter brightness limits, real-world battery life should see a noticeable improvement. It may not look impressive on a spec sheet, but in everyday use, this is where users will actually feel the difference, and that matters. Charging is also getting a welcome upgrade. The Galaxy S26 Ultra will support Key 2 magnetic wireless charging at up to 25 watts, and wired charging finally jumps to 60 watts, up from 45 watts on the S25 Ultra. That's a meaningful improvement. Now let's talk about the design. The Galaxy S26 Ultra's design is now fully clear and essentially confirmed. We've already discussed it in previous videos, so I won't repeat everything here. What is new, however, are the colors. According to reliable sources like Ice Universe and Evan Blass, Samsung is introducing a new hero color this year, Cobalt Violet. And if you were worried about an orange color option, don't worry, Samsung isn't copying Apple this time. But here's where things get controversial. There are rumors suggesting Samsung might switch back to aluminum instead of titanium, similar to what Apple did with the iPhone 17 Pro. For Apple, that decision made sense due to the phone's bulky unibody design, but for Samsung, this move would make far less sense. The S25 Ultra is already one of the lightest flagship phones on the market, and Samsung has some of the best thermal management in the industry. If Samsung actually drops titanium, it would feel like a step backward, prioritizing cost-cutting over premium build quality. I genuinely hope titanium stays because this is an Ultra phone, and that's exactly how it should feel. Finally, let's talk about launch details. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to be announced at Samsung Unpacked on February 25th, with availability starting on March 11th. As for pricing, yes, increases are expected this year due to rising component costs and the ongoing RAM shortage. However, leaks suggest Samsung will likely keep US pricing unchanged to stay competitive with the iPhone 17 lineup. Overall, the Galaxy S26 Ultra feels like a meaningful upgrade over last year's model. It's not a radical redesign, but it's a smart, refined evolution done the right way. What do you think about the Galaxy S26 Ultra? Let me know in the comments. For more accurate and up-to-date leaks, check out the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.